The translator bug in my ear canal itched like mad, but I kept my three primary eyes focused on the human female stumbling through Sector 7 of the cave system. Lieutenant Crosthor had bet me 6 ration cubes she wouldn't last an hour. I was starting to think I'd lost. Control, this is Observer Venn, I whispered into my comm device, mandibles clicking nervously. The human, she's doing something incredibly stupid again. Define stupid, Venn. My supervisor's voice crackled back, sounding bored. She's approaching the forbidden pool. Silence. Then, you're joking. Negative. I adjusted my optical enhancers, zooming in on the human. Her name was Kate Moreno, according to her expedition files. 28 cycles old. Xenoarchaeologist. Currently covered in mud, bleeding from a gash on her forearm, and apparently possessing the survival instincts of a Glorbian sand mite. She's wait. No. Kate Moreno dropped to her knees beside the pool. The same pool that had been sealed by 17 different galactic civilizations. The same pool that had warnings in 4,000 languages carved into the surrounding stone. The same pool that literally glowed with bioluminescent bacteria spelling out the words "do not touch" in the most common trade language. She cupped her hands. Human, stop. I activated my translator to external speakers, my voice booming through the cavern. That water is forbidden. You will cause a catastrophic, situation. Kate jerked, spinning around with wide eyes. Who said that? Hello. I remained cloaked. Protocol demanded non-interference with developing species, but honestly, I was more concerned about the paperwork if she died on my watch. The water. I tried again, keeping my voice calm and authoritative. It is extremely dangerous. You must leave immediately. She squinted into the darkness, trying to locate me. Then, and I still can't believe this happened, she laughed. Actually laughed. Right? She said, her voice dripping with that particular human brand of sarcasm. Because a mysterious voice telling me not to drink the creepy glowing water is definitely less suspicious than just drinking the creepy glowing water. My brain plates hurt. I am attempting to save your life, human. Sure you are. She looked down at the pool, then back up toward where she thought I was hiding. Look, voice, I've been lost in this cave system for 6 hours. I'm dehydrated. I'm injured. And unless you're going to materialize with a bottle of Evian, I'm drinking from this pool. But she drank. I watched in absolute horror as Kate Moreno brought her cupped hands to her lips and swallowed 3 full mouthfuls of the primordial water. The water that had existed since before the first stars ignited. The water that contained the genetic memory of 1 billion extinct species. The water that was absolutely, positively, under no circumstances ever supposed to touch human DNA. For a moment, nothing happened. Kate wiped her mouth, shrugged at the darkness, and started to stand. Then the seizures began. Control. We have a situation. I was already moving, my cloaking field dissolving as I rushed toward her convulsing form. The human consumed the primordial water. I repeat, contamination event in progress. Kate's body arched backward, her spine bending at angles that should have snapped bone. Her eyes, both of them, began to glow the same eerie blue as the pool. The walls started to hum. No, wait. She was humming. No, not humming. The sound coming from her throat was the ancient breeding call of the Vexnari, a species that had been dead for 10 million years. Then it shifted, becoming the war cry of the Thulzak. Then a language I didn't even recognize. Kate Moreno, I said, reaching for my medical scanner with one appendage while trying to stabilize her with another. Can you hear me? Kate. Her eyes snapped open, focusing on me with terrifying clarity. When she spoke, her voice layered with 1,000 others, speaking in perfect unison. We hear you, small observer. We hear everything now. That's when I noticed her wound. The gash on her arm wasn't bleeding anymore. Instead, the skin was knitting itself back together, faster than any regeneration technology I'd ever seen. But that wasn't the disturbing part. The disturbing part was that underneath the closing wound, I could see something moving. Something that looked like circuitry, but organic. Pulsing. Alive. Oh, by the 7 void moons, I breathed. What have you done? Kate, or whatever Kate was becoming, smiled. It was not a comforting expression. What have I done? She stood, moving with inhuman grace, water dripping from her hands and evaporating before it hit the ground. Observer Venn of the Galactic Preservation Council, Monitoring Station Delta 5, assigned to Earth surveillance for the past 3 orbital cycles. My blood turned cold. I'd never told her any of that. How do you? I drank from the source, she interrupted, her voice still carrying that haunting chorus. And now I know what you people have been hiding. What you've been afraid of. What humanity was always meant to become. A sound echoed from deeper in the cave system. Footsteps. Lots of them. Kate's head tilted, listening. My team is coming. They heard me scream. They'll find this place. They'll want to study it. And some of them, her smile widened. Some of them will drink, just like I did. That cannot happen, I said firmly, reaching for my weapon. Try to stop them. Kate's eyes blazed brighter. I dare you. Then, from behind me, from the shadows I'd thought were empty, came a whisper that made every one of my sensory organs contract in fear. Observer Venn. You have no idea what she just became. I spun around, but saw nothing. When I turned back, Kate was gone. The whisper came again, this time from everywhere and nowhere. Tracking her won't help, observer. She's already in 3 places at once. I activated every sensor in my kit. Thermal, electromagnetic, quantum displacement. Nothing. Kate Moreno had vanished like she'd never existed, except for the wet footprints leading in 4 different directions. 4. Impossible. Control. I need a full containment team at my coordinates. Now, static answered me. Control? Control. Respond. More static. Then, cutting through the interference, Kate's voice, impossibly clear. They can't hear you, Venn. I'm sorry, but I can't let you call in an orbital strike on my species' only chance. Chance. I spun in a circle, trying to locate her. Chance at what? Becoming unstoppable monsters. Laughter echoed through the cave, but it sounded sad. Human. See, that's exactly the problem with you people. You find something you don't understand, something that scares you, and immediately you want to destroy it. Do you even know what this pool really is? It's a genetic weapon from the old war. It corrupts biological matter, and it upgrades biological matter. Kate stepped out from behind a stalactite that definitely hadn't been large enough to hide her. Her skin was glowing faintly now, and I could see patterns moving beneath it like living tattoos. The old ones didn't create it as a weapon. They created it as a gift. A way for younger species to survive what's coming. My secondary heart started pounding. What's coming? You know what's coming, Venn. Your people have known for centuries. Why do you think the Galactic Council keeps humanity quarantined? Why do you think they're so terrified of us reaching the stars? She was right. I did know. Everyone in the council knew, even if we didn't talk about it. The convergence. Every 700,000 years, something swept through the galaxy. Something that devoured entire civilizations. The last one had wiped out 90% of all spacefaring species. The survivors had rebuilt, formed the council, and spent millennia preparing for the next one, which was due in approximately 200 years. The pool, I said slowly, pieces clicking together in my mind. It's meant to accelerate evolution. To create soldiers. Not soldiers. Kate held up her hand, and I watched in fascination as her fingers elongated, then returned to normal. Survivors. The old ones left these pools on promising worlds. Gifts for species that might need them. And you people found them, studied them, and then sealed them away because you were too afraid to use them yourselves. Because the transformation is irreversible. Because it changes you into something that isn't you anymore. Does it? Kate touched her chest. I still remember my mother's birthday. I still hate Brussels sprouts. I still cry at sad movies. I'm still me, Venn. Just more. And yes, it's terrifying. But you know what's more terrifying? Extinction. Voices grew louder from the tunnel. Her team was close. You can't let them drink, I said, hearing the desperation in my own voice. Kate, please. If humanity transforms too quickly, the council will see it as an act of war. They'll sterilize your entire planet. Then I guess you'd better stop them. She gestured to the tunnel. You've got maybe 2 minutes before Marcus finds this chamber. He's the curious type. He will drink. So will at least 3 others. Why are you telling me this? Kate's expression softened. Because I'm hoping you'll make the right choice. You've been watching my species for 3 years. You've seen what we're capable of. The good and the bad. The question is, do you think we deserve a chance? I don't. You've got 90 seconds, Venn. Choose. My mind raced through options. I could collapse the tunnel. Seal the chamber. Call in that sterilization strike. Follow protocol. do my duty, or the council lied to you, Kate said quietly, reading my hesitation. They've used the pools. 12 species in the current council underwent the transformation in secret. How do you think the Kylonians survived the last convergence? Why do you think the Mextau can regenerate from almost any injury? They just don't want competition. That's insane. That's true. She pulled a small data chip from her pocket. How she'd kept it intact through her transformation, I had no idea. I found records. In the deep archives of this cave. The old ones kept logs. Everything's on here. Proof that the council has been hoarding this technology while keeping younger species vulnerable. I stared at the chip. 60 seconds, Venn. If I let them drink, if I let this happen, I'll be executed for treason. Probably. Kate smiled. But you'll save 2 species. Mine and yours. Because I promise you, when humanity survives the convergence and the council doesn't, we'll remember who helped us. We'll remember our friends. The voices were so close now. I could hear Marcus talking excitedly about unusual mineral deposits. 30 seconds. I looked at Kate, really looked at her. She was still human. Still herself. Just as she'd said more. And suddenly I was angry. Angry at the council for lying. Angry at the protocol that demanded I value rules over lives. Angry at myself for almost following orders without question. I grabbed the data chip. If you're wrong about this, I said, deactivating my weapon. If humanity becomes something monstrous, then you have my permission to say you told me so. Kate's team rounded the corner, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Now get out of here before they see you. And Venn? Thank you. I activated my cloaking field and retreated to the shadows just as Marcus burst into the chamber, his eyes going wide at the sight of the glowing pool. Kate, you're alive. Oh my God, what is that? Kate looked at the pool, then at her teammate. When she spoke, her voice was steady. Certain. Marcus, she said, I need to tell you something absolutely crazy. And then, I need you to trust me. I watched from the darkness as she began to explain. Watched as disbelief turned to wonder on her team's faces. Watched as, one by one, they made their choice. By the time I left the cave system, 4 more humans had drunk from the pool. The convergence was coming. But maybe, just maybe, we'd all survive it together. And if the council didn't like it? Well, they were about to learn something important about humanity. You don't cage the species that refuses to go extinct. If this story entertained or taught you something, please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow and bring you more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next story.